Hello everyone, I wanted to make a quick video outlining some of the setting controls you have when you want to restrict your student access to an assignment for a set period of time. For example, if you only wanted students to work on a document during class hours instead of at home outside of those class hours. So I'm going to go ahead here and I've got an assignment that I've created here, but I'm going to just demonstrate a new one quickly here to show this. So I'll name this test of assignment close dates, because that's what we're going to be focusing on here. And I'm not going to add any sort of details in terms of instructions or points. I will add a resource, as we recommend, always providing the template document that you want students to work on right within your assignment, whether that's a Word doc, a PowerPoint file, a OneNote page. Again, then it makes it really easy for you to see the work the students are doing in real time as they're working on it, even before they turn in that assignment. So I've added this sample assignment Word document and set it that students can edit their copy. Let's say I do assign 10 points for this. And the key thing we want to look at down here is the due date and what's called the close date. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit below the due date, and I'm going to set this due date for just a few minutes time here. So I'm going to set this as 3:35 p.m. and this is going to be for today. And I'm going to set a close date, and you can see that the close date will automatically match the due date by default. You can adjust that, but we're going to keep it like that. So it's going to close in 2 minutes. The students have 2 minutes to turn this quick assignment in. I'm going to have this post to them in our, we'll do it in our computer science channel here. And I'm ready to send that assignment off to my students. So I can go ahead and see this new assignment that we've created. I can see the status of it, and it will show me that none of my students have viewed the assignment here. It's not turned in, and none of them have opened it yet. But I'm going to switch over to Demo Student 2 and switch to their view here. So I'm going to bring up their browser, and we're going to go into our team, and they can see there's a notification for this EdTech 101 team. And under Computer Science, there's a little badge showing that they've got this new assignment. They can go ahead and click View Assignment, and they would see your instructions you provided, if you had put any sort of template in place in that document. And they see that they still have this option to turn it in. Now, if I click on that Word doc that was attached as a resource, again, they can see here that they can start to complete their assignment right here. This is what we'll put in for the sample assignment. And they could, again, continue to work on that and edit that and use all of the functionality of Microsoft Word. As a teacher, if I want to switch back to my teacher view, I can refresh my page here at any point by clicking on the little reload tab icon. And that just shows me up-to-date status of these assignments. So I can see here for this one now, I can see Demo Student 2 has viewed it. And if I click on that, this will actually bring me into their document with them. And I'll be able to see exactly what my student is working on this current time. And that I can see they're currently in the document and right where their cursor is. So this allows me, again, to provide feedback on the fly in real time with the students as well, which is nice. Now, I wanted to demonstrate what happens, again, once that close date passes. By setting a close date on your assignment, that does not automatically lock it for editing access by your students. You can see that here, I'm back in the student view, and I still am able to edit my document here. I could click close as well and see that, again, the assignment closed at 3:35, but I can actually still go back in and open that document up. And even though it shows now, if you notice the little change here, I'm just going to do that again. I can see that it's past 3:35. When I click on the assignment, it brings me into a read-only version of this file. But as a student, I could still click on this Edit Document button and select Edit, which says Make Quick Changes right here using Word. So the students still have the ability to do that. Click on Edit, and they can continue to edit that file. By setting a close date, it does not change the actual sharing permissions of that file with your students. So they could go back in here, and here is the addition to my assignment outside of class hours, as an example. So again, that would allow your students to continue work on the document at home, which again, maybe you want to restrict that work to that in-class period. So I'm going to show you how you can have this workflow in place where they will not have that ability to edit the document. And it really all relies on your students turning in the assignment at the end of that class period. You have to have your students click turn in before that close date. And if they do that, they will no longer have editing access on that file until you return it to them at the beginning of the next day's class. So I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like here. I'm going to close out of the assignment from the student perspective. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back into the assignment as a teacher, and I'm going to edit this close date and extend it just a couple minutes from now. So I'll go back in as a teacher into the assignment, and I'm in the view of here of my assignment, and I'm going to click on the 3 dots in the top right corner and click Edit Assignment. And when you do this, you have the ability to set, again, any of these things that you had adjusted before you created this assignment. You can edit these ongoing. So what I'm going to edit is our due date and time. So I'm going to push this due time and close date to 3:39 p.m. So in another 2 minutes from now. I'll click Edit. And the close date is you can see update automatically to match that, because I set that a close date would be on. And as I push the due date, the close date is adjusted as well. So that looks good to me. The students now have 2 minutes to actually submit it this time, turn it in. I'm going to click Done and Update. And that's all I need to do on my end as a teacher. From the student perspective, I'll go in. They'll see that they'll get a little notification that the assignment due date has been changed. They actually get automated notifications of that. So they can click View Assignment, be brought back into the document. They can see now that they have this turn-in ability again, now that they've made their edits. They could make any changes, again, that they needed to here in terms of how this looks. I think it's all set. I'll say I'm going to delete this because we're no longer doing this outside of class hours. So here is the addition that they made. And we're going to get the student to click Turn In. And that is the secret here. You need to have them click Turn In. And they're able to do that until that 3:39 mark. So as long as the close date hasn't passed, they'll be able to click Turn In. As a teacher, really the essential piece is that you need to make sure that before the end of class, if you're looking at your assignment status, you want to make sure that all of your students have clicked Turn In. They have submitted their assignment before that deadline. And if they haven't, then again, what you could do, you could extend your, as you're doing just kind of check-ins in the last 5 minutes. Ideally, this is something you do with time before that due date or that close date is going to come up. But if you needed to, you could keep the student, for a minute, extend that date by editing the assignment settings and have them click Turn In. But that is the essential piece, because now that they've turned this in, again, as a teacher, I can go in and I can view their work and see where they got to. I could even, do something like insert a little line break or a page break and put information as to like end of class 1. I could do something like this for this, for the student view. And because I'm an editor on this document, I'll be able to see revision history if this was edited or changed by the student. But we shouldn't really even need to do that in this case. We're just going to make this as an indicator. If you want, that's not something you need to do, but you can also have your students do that as well. You could have them put in these page breaks to kind of, keep that track of how far they got each day. So I'm going to close this. And from the student perspective, just to highlight that they no longer have editing access outside of class hours, if we go back into the student view, you'll see that they can reload the tab here. And now that that close date has passed and they've turned it in, it's going to move under the completed assignments. And I can see it was this one here, test of assignment close dates. So they can see that it was turned in, and they do not have the ability to undo that turn in because the close date has passed. They can only undo a turn in if there is a close date that hasn't yet passed. So here the student again can still see their work, and they can actually see any comments that you make as well. So if they click on this, they'd be able to view their content here, but they can't edit this document. This is now in a read-only mode. And even if they were to click open in desktop app, you see they no longer have an option to edit directly in Teams or in Teams or Word Online. they could open in the desktop app, but it's going to be a read-only file. Teams has now adjusted the sharing permissions of this file that you as the teacher are the owner of, and they no longer can actually make any edits to it. So even if they open it in the desktop app, it's read-only for them. So that is the way you want to structure this, again, if you want to keep them working on it within class hours. What you can do then the next day at the start of class, the next day, we could just simply go back into our assignment as the teacher, click on the 3 dots and edit assignment. And at the start of the next day's class, I could now just change this due date. Maybe we'll set it now for Thursday, the following day, and we'll set it for the end of the day here. So let's say it was 3:35 p.m. And again, I'll keep a close date on so that students have to turn it in before the end of the next day's class. And we can continue this cycle for however many work periods in class we wanted to have with the assignment. So click done, and then I will update this. And now your students are going to have the ability, you could either, you could return the work to the student yourself, just to kind of notify them the next day that it's been returned to them, but they can keep working on it. But you don't actually even have to do that. As soon as you've updated the close date, you could just tell your students, okay, go back into your team's assignments, look under your completed assignments that you turned in yesterday. Again, it's under completed because they clicked turn in. But now that I've pushed that close date back, they could go back into their assignment. And you can see here, they've got this undo turn-in option now. So at the start of the next day's class, they could simply click undo turn-in. And now they're going to be able to open it and edit the document. You can see here, it says working on opening in edit mode. Please refresh and try again. They can just simply refresh the little assignment tab here. And they'll be able to open that document up. You can see now it's moved from their completed assignments into their assigned active assignments. And you can see they'll be able to now continue to work on their document. So they just click on that, and you'll see that they're brought right back into the full editing mode within Word. And you can see here the teacher, their teacher added this little page break for them, end of class 1, start of class 2, so they could start to continue their assignment. And again, as the teacher, I'll be able to see back in my view that the student is back in the document, continue to make edits. So if I just refresh my view here as a teacher, I can now see that again, demo student 2 is continuing to view the assignment. So like they're working on it. It has not been turned in again since they did click that undo. And I could click on here as the teacher. See again that they're continuing their assignment. They're continuing to work on this right now. And if you want, you can always, as the teacher too, you can see any changes that have been made since you last opened the document. You can also click on the View History button in the top here to see the dates again of when this was assigned and when it was first viewed. If you want to see more in-depth, a more in-depth breakdown of the edits, the times that edits were made to the document, you can do that under File, Info, and Version History. And this will allow you to see the different times that this document was edited. So you'll be able to see that content again. If this took place over a couple different days, you'd be able to see that. You can see what the original document looked like, and then what the status of it is now. So that's another option you have as the teacher. So that's the process you want to put in place. Again, if you want to restrict students to work on the document during class hours, you want to make sure you set a close date on that assignment and ensure all of your students click on that turn in option before that close date. That's really the essential steps to making sure that they're only working on it during class hours. So hope that helps. I know it's a bit of a longer tutorial, but if you have any questions related to that, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, Stuart Gray, and I'd be happy to help.